Hey guys, guess what time it is? It's time for the VOD! It's that time of the week! I mean, we had our guest yesterday, but we have two more guests. One today and one tomorrow. So why don't we get into that? What's going on, guys? My goodness. There's been a lot of streaming this week. And today's episode of the VOD is no exception. So why don't we kind of jump into that? Let's talk about yesterday's episode of the VOD. Tomorrow's episode of the VOD. And I am wiping my nose because seasonal allergies. And today's episode of the VOD. Also, if you occasionally hear sounds like loud thunderous booms, it's first time watching. I look forward to seeing what occurs. I hope it goes well, and I hope you enjoy your Dr. Pepper. I'm actually, for once, drinking Mountain Dew right now. If Diesel was here, they would chide me for that. So I'm actually drinking a different soda today. But welcome, Fenrir. I'm happy to have you here. Saw you're in the server, and I saw you messaging, say hello, and I freaking love that. I'm so happy. Oh, jeez, thank you. That was a particularly violent throw. Pardon me. If you see me look off to my left right here, that is because I am looking at my side monitor because it has my Discord on it. So yeah. But I'm wheezing. It was so violent. It was violent. I don't know why it was so violent. But anywho. Let's talk about our guest yesterday. So our guest yesterday for the Hi ABC, what's going on? Our guest yesterday was the wonderful Desync. And for those that saw that, it was a show of all time. And the reason why I say it like that is because when we were trying to get it started and get it set up, my stream crashed. And I had to restart my computer. I was working. I'm sorry, Fidge. I'm sorry. Yeah, because yesterday was the best day that would work for. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Finch. I appreciate that. On the bright side, whoever was there yesterday got to see the. Whoever was there yesterday, usable username cheered 5,000 bits. And it was something else, to say the least, because we sat through, I want to say 2 or 3 minutes of just a constant bombardment where that's 10,000 items thrown. Hold on. Oh, my nose, these allergies are killing me. Val getting mad money. Kind of, yeah. But I'll say all of the money that I receive from Twitch doesn't really go into my pocket because I use it to either throw back into subs I give to people, or the large majority of it I'm trying to use to give to my artist. So excuse me. Because that's what I want to do, is I want to make sure I'm paying my wonderful artist, since they are, they're so awesome. So I don't see a lot of that money because I'm shifting it around, making sure that when I started this whole venture of streaming, I want to make sure that the money I spend, or that I earned from it, I put straight back into the streaming. Hence where this model came from. So I didn't spend my personal money that I make from my job outside of this. I used the money I made from streaming to get this model. So, and thankfully it paid dividends and it worked out. So if you're ever thinking about streaming and you want to get a better model or something like that, try that you can for free and see what it can get you, and hopefully you foster and get that audience and you can get that stuff. So, but just know there will always be people there to support you. Hopefully. I'll always be there. because I don't mind. So yeah, yesterday, with my stream crashing, we had to restart that. And we found that the culprit was when I tried to share my OBS feed to desync, so he could move like his model around all around the screen and do all that, because it was a wild time doing all that. It was very fun though, and I loved it. It was really fun, and a lot of wonderful moments happened from that show, from that episode. So if you missed it, I'll be uploading it to YouTube after this. And I need to start putting those links in the Discord server, because I'm pretty like, I'm pretty getting good about uploading it. 5,000 bits is only like $50 on the streamer's end, I think. Still very generous, but not insane amounts. It is. However, the amount that Twitch takes from bits is a much more generous amount than it does from subs or donations. So that's why I always encourage bits, because I get more from bits than I do a sub or a donation. And plus, if you sub, then you throw 50 Dr. Peppers. However, why is this so loud in my ear? What the heck? I turned down my headset. There we go. But a sub only nets 50 Dr. Peppers thrown. And if you gift subs, you don't get to throw more. But for bits, I've purposely made it so that however many you donate or you cheer, it throws double the amount. Thank you. Oh my goodness, I'm like runny nose central right now. Thank you. So that's why I always like to mention the bits, because I think the bits are much more fun to do. Because even 100 bits, that's $1. That's about $1 American USD, and you throw 200 things in me. So, excuse me. To me, that is a much more fun option that supports me better than a sub or a donation does. I mean, I haven't received a donation yet, and I kind of don't want it to receive donations, because I don't know. Again, I feel like bits are just a much better, more interactive way to do things. Take allergy medicine if you haven't. You're going to be so dehydrated when you wake up tomorrow for the sound of the sniffles. So I don't have any allergy medicine, unfortunately. Hi, Cole. What's going on? I saw your wonderful comment on Twitter that you made, and I saw that when I woke up, like, because I sleep throughout the day. So I saw it, and then I went back to sleep, but I meant to, because I was so tired. But I'm so thankful for your kind words. So thank you for that. And I'm happy you're here and you're part of my server and here in the stream. So it makes me very thankful. Anywho, enough about yesterday's VOD. We'll quickly go over tomorrow's VOD, and by that, tomorrow's episode of the VOD, same time, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, where we'll be having Kaiden Taiji again as our guest, and I spoke with him. Really, really nice, really wonderful dude. And I've been watching his content because I like to research my guests, and he's got some really good content out there. So I highly encourage you to check out who he is. 8 Eastern, 7 Central. You know, I should have, like, I should see if I can get, like, a bot for that, that does the conversion on Twitch. But thank you, Finch. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific. That would also be a merry time zone to one and all. Exactly. And I believe that would be, if that's 6 p.m. Mountain Standard, that would be 9 a.m. JP time, and that would be about 2 in the morning GMT in the UK. So do with that information as you will for any of our international friends. So enough about that. I ramble. I am a professional yapper. It's time for us to talk about our guest today. So Kevin is that I haven't said the name of my guest in a while on the very beginning, so because I purposed not to make it ambiguous, but dang, I just messed up. That's okay. Our guest today has been a wonderful like supporter and recent collaborator in my streams, and he has a lot to say, but more importantly, a lot of conversation and just overall support and just happiness to give, and which it makes me very happy. So I'm very happy we finally get to have him on, because when I found out he was also a VTuber, a PNG tuber, I'm like, come on my show, let's talk, let's do this. I love to hear your story and what all you do. So let us get right into that. Today we'll be welcoming the guy with too much music on his phone, too many physical manga volumes, which we should talk about as well, living in what feels like a toaster all summer, again we'll talk about, because internationally he is in the country of Denmark. Kevin is my bestie. How come he didn't tell me he was coming on here? Oh, what's going on, Abbott? If it isn't my favorite dad tuber. Get shouted out, nerd. Living in what feels like a toaster all summer, but during winters he'll cozy up in his authentic Japanese Kotatsu. He used to stream more often, but has since found his dream job, and as such streams less frequently these days. Please welcome our guest for today, Kevin under the Kotatsu. Kevin, my boy, my friend, how are you doing today? I meant to, I swear. Oh my goodness, he is currently muted and deafened because he's watching it there. Oh, there he goes. There it is.
Hello. Yeah, it's me.
There it is.
The man, the myth, the legend.
The man, the myth, the legend. Kevin, how are you doing? Because currently Abbott says he's going to kick your butt and leave the company.
That wouldn't be the first time. I can already guarantee that.
Oh, well, ain't that fun? I mean, clearly you're leaving an impact in a lot of people's streams, and enough to warrant just, you know, Abbott wanting to kick your tuchus. So, but it's good to have you on. I mean, this isn't the first time we've talked. We've collabed. No. You were wonderful. You took wonderful part in my week-long collab little celebration to kick off the VOD season 2. You were a lot of fun to have there, and so you occasionally pop in for the server and talk. So, you know, it's nice to finally have you on so we can kind of talk about some things.
Yeah, of course.
You stepped into my office. Clearly, this is a bad sign. So we're gonna be talking about your employment with us. You know, we gotta, you know, things aren't working out. Budgets aren't functioning. So we're gonna have to let you go, Kevin. I'm sorry.
Well, wouldn't be the first time I've been fired.
Oh no. Oh, hey buddy, what's up?
We can talk about that one later.
Oh,
it is a kind of tragic story.
Oh no.
Not for me.
How is one of my favorite artists doing? One of these days, and commission you, Bunny, and you will accept my funds. But as for you, Kevin, yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that a little later. But as for now, it's time for me to ask my first, and in all of our opinions, hopefully, most important question. That is, Kevin, who are you, and what is your story? And take as long as you need, because that'll allow me to scarf down the rest of my dinner, which I kind of forgot to eat.
Okay, so first of all, and this wasn't something I used to do, but I felt it just let me look at my life as a whole in a more constructive manner. But after I had finished public school, in Denmark we have something we call after school, not after schooling, different thing, where you can go on a 1 to 2 year extended study course. It's where you like move to a school, and it's kind of like a college in the sense that you live and eat and study there. And when I was done with that, I was going into further education, and I had hit a really rough rut. Like I was just sinking into like not despair, but solitude, I guess, would be the best way to describe it. And I just said to myself, oh, well, said is the wrong word, but I decided to look at my entire life in like a chapter format. So like my kindergarten years to my preschool years, whole of public school, and then so on. Just like look at them in a sense of how much have I grown in each single chapter, and what were my weaknesses, what were my strengths, did I tackle my weaknesses, did I lose some strengths. And I can objectively say that, yeah, I had a lot of weaknesses, which some of them I've tackled, some of them are still the same weakness. But I am Kevin. I just turned 29 today.
Yeah,
So,
today's your birthday.
Yep.
Everybody
So,
say happy birthday.
Happy birthday to me. But yeah, 1 year left until I hit the 30 and I get and I become old, as people would call it. And well, of course, I'm born in 1995. My mom and dad unfortunately separated when I was young, but it didn't really strain the relationship that much between those two, because they were friends first, and they are still friends to this very day. And he got a job before they separated in Germany. So my entire grandmother's lineage is German. So he got he got a, unrelated to her, he got a job there. So I moved there when I was maybe half a year old, with my dad and mom. Went to kindergarten there, and we were there for 5 years, roughly.
This is
As my
this is just your entire life story that like
I'm cutting out all the boring parts.
But like normally when I ask this question, it's just like, what is your story in relation to VTubing, or just
I know
your lore? But like we're just getting the entire the full Monty of who Kevin is.
It's important for where I got.
Yeah. No, go off, King.
I will, other king. And
you're too kind.
And after that, my sister got born in the meantime, and then I got back to Denmark, and they fully separated. And by the time I can't remember if I was between 7 or 9, and I got diagnosed with ADHD, which no longer exists as a term. It's now all under the autism umbrella, I'm pretty sure, worldwide. And that was it wasn't, looking back, it wasn't rough, but it definitely made me feel like I was different from other people. Not in a good sense. And that was a kind of struggle growing up, with like concentration difficulties and stuff like that, and some bullying here and there, because back in those days, that was like what everybody just did. Not even as malicious, just, oh, we're doing it for fun. Which you can argue that that's worse.
Yeah.
But I just cruised through school. I really did not like math. I still don't. I never saw the point in learning math if I'm not gonna use it like professionally later. but I really liked English because I got on the internet a little bit too late, and so this is one of the most embarrassing stories ever. So my sister, who is 2.5 years younger than me,
Yes.
I'm sitting with my like a mini laptop I got for my birthday, and I am now introduced to the amazing world of Annoying Orange. And
hold on, was this entire story? I'm just gonna stop and ask you right now. Is this entire story culminating in you talking about how the very, like, your Oshi, your very first VTuber, is the Annoying Orange, and how the Annoying Orange is technically considered the first VTuber?
No, definitely not. I know who the first VTuber is. I would never disrespect her name like that.
Who's the first YouTuber then?
I believe it's Kizuna Ai. I'm pretty sure, at least.
It has been collectively decided that Kizuna AI is the first big VTuber. Because I know there's been a little bit of discussion on technicalities and whatnot, but I guess in terms of the most traditional sense, Kizuna AI is the first.
Yeah, it's definitely the front runner.
To be fair, when I saw her for the very first time, like when she came out, I straight up thought she was just that in AI.
Yeah, I thought too. I thought someone had opened up a Source filmmaker and been like, let's make some fun.
Oh, pardon me, I just need to close my window. I am in the ceiling now. Pay no attention to that. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Just a little bit of a joke, a little bit of a hee hee hoo hoo. Sorry, continue. Annoying Orange.
Yeah, so, and I'm like, wow, this shit's amazing. Oh, it's so cool and funny and unique. And I tell my sister, and I'm 12 or 13 at the time. She looks at me with the deadest look in her eyes, and she's like, yeah, that was popular 2 years ago. And I will never ever forget that.
Mm-hmm.
But I go through so I said I hated math, and I was okay at, so I didn't really like Danish either. I still don't like the language itself. I prefer English any day. And I felt like I didn't learn enough in my English classes. Like, it was very basic. And
Yeah.
if I want to learn something, then I want to learn it. Like, immediately. I want to put my entire soul into learning it. And I just wasn't getting that. It was like, the cat says what the dog says, and I was like, this shit sucks. So I had gotten into Legend of Zelda animation, which is also important because that led me to anime for a very random reason. And I remember I had watched a lot of the Wukos episodes because they did they were a fairly decently big channel back in the day, 2008, around that time, and they did a lot of original Zelda animation content, which was pretty good, pretty well made for a time. And on my recommended feed on YouTube, I saw that there was a Legend of Zelda X Slayers parody. And at that time, I did not know what Slayers was. Later on, it would become one of my all-time favorite anime. But at that point, I didn't know what anime was. Like, we had Dragon Ball and Naruto running on Danish kids television,
Naruto running on Danish kids television.
Yeah, that, you know what? I'll talk about that later as well, because that is one of the worst / best things ever.
What, Naruto running, or like just Naruto in general?
Naruto running on Danish kids television.
Okay, because like when I heard that, my mind instantly went to like, you know, Naruto running itself, like when you're the idea of running and then sticking your arms behind you, thinking you're more aerodynamic.
I trust me, I never knew anyone in my class or my school that did that shit. No one did that.
Clearly they didn't know the superior aerodynamic form of Naruto running.
I could have run the sprint. But where did it come from? We got to so we didn't know what animals. We still considered it cartoons because we were kids. We didn't know better. And at that point, I still don't know what anime is, but I'm like watching this parody where it's like a Legend of Zelda song posted on top of the a compilation clips of the Slash anime. And my first thought for like the longest time was, I don't remember this Legend of Zelda. Like, why does Link have blue armor? Why is Zelda a redhead? And then I, looked into it, watched the entire thing, like 4 seasons in English dub, and I ate it up. It was so funny and so fun. And by that, I learned English. My pronunciation can be a little funky at times because of my lisp, but I learned pronunciation. And then when I noticed how good I had gotten at English, all of a sudden, I was like, okay, time to watch anime in sub, so that I can learn how they spell the words too.
Yeah.
Which led to me having one of the best English grades of our entire grade.
Hey, there you go. Look, all I can say is,
later,
as a native English speaker, learning the ins and outs of the English vocabulary and grammar rules is certainly an interesting thing that a lot of other languages don't give us credit for. Now, I know that a lot of international schools, I say international for me, so just any school that's outside of the United States typically teaches English as a secondary language, as a mandatory language. Now in the United States, learning a second language is not a mandatory thing. You're only required to learn to take English classes, and so because of that, like, I chose to learn French because I wanted to, not because I had to. And from that, it's always interesting when you have somebody who doesn't speak English naturally learn English, and they come to find out how difficult the English language is because of its very nuanced approaches to a lot of different things. And that's not to say I think it's like the 3rd hardest language in the world to learn.
I think on just like sheer things, yeah, it is one of the hardest. I think the most annoying to learn is German, because they have so many unnecessary grammar rules. Like, look at grammar rules and you're gonna be like, okay, I'm done, close book. Like, I have heard from a friend that learning Chinese is easier than learning German. And the German language is the most unintuitive language ever. So like how some words will be like a let's take a loan word, like a reconnaissance, right?
Yeah.
You know where it is, but but it's not the it's like not the actual like thing, if that makes sense. In German, they just take, oh, this is that word, this is this word, slap them together. So in German, if you are, I believe that if you're sick, an ambulance is called a Krankenwagen. Yeah, and Kranken is you're sick, Wagen is a car, the sick car.
Sick car.
So unintuitive, and I hated it. We had a mandatory. So we had the choice. If I had gotten the choice of learning Spanish, I would have taken it. But we had between French and German. And I barely scraped by German.
It's English is certainly an interesting language. And what I've experienced from a lot of my German-speaking friends, like one of my very good friends who learned Swiss German because he was from Switzerland. He'd rather learn German. He'd rather learn German than English because, in his experience, German's a very literal language. In a lot of what they do, because in that case, in an ambulance, it's a sick car. When you break down when you break down the meaning of ambulance, I suppose in an English sense, it's derived from Latin and then French, because looking at it, ambulant is Latin for walking, and then it goes to French of hôpital ambulant, which means mobile field hospital.
Yeah, it's rough.
And then it was just shortened to ambulance.
Yeah, like I had a rough go of it until that much, but from that on, nothing like major happened. Like yes. I did the 2 years of after school. I did further education, and then I moved into a. By technicality, it's a shared house, but it's operated by the municipality that I live in, and they have like staff assigned to help us like get ready to move out and get our own place.
Yeah.
And I lived there for about almost 6 years. I was like 4 days short of living there for 6 years.
I see.
And when I moved out, we come to. I moved out in the middle of 2020, which was for many reasons a bad year, but also a good year for streamers. Like streamers popped off that year.
Yeah.
But in 20, well, let's just get that sort of out of the way. So when I got fired, I was doing some because we have a huge where I work right now is and where I was assigned, it's called Job Activity and Competence Center, and it's a huge like a facility where people like me, you can be slightly handicapped, you can be physically handicapped or like invalid, and you can go there, you can be there, you can have work there, and we are even I believe it's the best public firm in Denmark 4 years running, and we also had the best public firm 2 or 3 years running in Europe.
So what it sounds like to me is it's the Danish version of the American Disabilities Association, which is what we have in America, which is responsible for providing for that and Social Security, which is our Social Security department, which is responsible for taking care of those who are on disability. Because I don't think we in America use the phrase invalid anymore. I think we use the phrase just disability.
Oh yeah, we have different tiers. So like if you're insured and you become invalid, you get a you can cash out your insurance. But if you're not under that particular term, then you won't get your insurance.
Yeah,
it's a big kerfuffle.
And then that happened. That's kind of the way it is in the United States as well. It's just there are different degrees of disability. You know, some who have debilitating mental disorders that impede function is, you know, one. Is it physical? Like, for instance, somebody who's a paraplegic or somebody who's a quadriplegic. You know, so the state provides funding for those who to afford like in-housing nurses and things that when they can't afford you know, those things for themselves, because at that point you need to hire an in-house nurse to take care of you, or just if you can't function as more commonly as a lot of the population, you know, a lot of times the State Department will help fund the individual to make sure they are able to live a within reasonable accommodation. So thankfully the U.S. it's not the best, you know. I'm sure Denmark certainly is much better in the healthcare department than the United States is.
I have a lot of friends of the U.S. Yeah, I know exactly what's going on.
Look, but we have freedom. We just don't have good healthcare. Welcome to America, baby.
So I was in the youth program when I first started in the in my firm, or well, my facility, and that was 2017.
Yeah.
And I started in the youth program, which was like a special program they had where they got us into interns at various places, like supermarkets and smaller stores, and whoever said, yeah, they can come and work with us. And I'm not gonna say I was totally lazy, but I had my like lazy streaks. And I remember I couldn't forget even if I wanted to. I was working for on an internship for a supermarket, and long story short, because it's a very long story. I was sick. We had all gotten something at work, and the corporate behind the supermarket sent out a substitute, and lo and behold, as it was in school, so be it here. The substitute fucking sucked. Not only did she remove the schedule I had met with the boss, who was also down sick, but she also lied when she quote unquote fired me for not doing my job properly. And the biggest tell, and her biggest fumble, was that when she fired me and I could finally get in contact with my supervisor, she said I was happily walking away chatting with a friend, which I could prove was incorrect, which helped me get a pre-pension. So pre-pension here works like I don't have to work a normal job, but I have to.
You have to qualify.
Qualify and do something else on the side. So I get a small paycheck for being in the media department, and there I make videos. We'll get into that later, or articles, and yeah. So since 2019, the summer of 2019, almost, running up on 5 years now, I have been a permanent addition to the media department team. which is it's a dream job come true. I would not want anything else. Well, maybe if I was a CEO and got cash out the wazoo, but no, I like the job.
So then let's take a little bit of this and kind of condense it, and so we can move on a little bit. Is how did this get you into VTubing? Like, because clearly your story is a very very big and lengthy one. What I want to know is, how does this relate to you getting into VTubing? What caused you to want to get into this, and how did you finally do it?
So I started streaming in, well, like everybody else in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like normal streams where I played Terraria with some friends.
Good game.
And I just very good game. I had a fun time, and I just did like some smaller streams on the side, like nothing. What's the word? Nothing like consistent.
Yeah.
I would maybe stream, maybe if I'm playing a game, make some videos on things I liked, and did a Katana unboxing earlier last year, or late last year. And I just was kinda, I wasn't really stuck 2021, 2022, but I could feel like by my exactly on my birthday last year, I just like broke down. I had gotten into like such a bad headspace of, like I said, with where we talked about it earlier, but I had just gotten into a bad cycle where it was have to do all of this and then do that forever and ever, and it just caught up to me, and I can't remember the last time I cried that much, because I was just not in a good position in anything. And that lasted until November last year. Well, October, November, roughly about there. And I had come to the realization that I needed to change something. Like something needs to change. I couldn't keep going like this.
Yeah.
So I went and was just like taking a break, taking a like chill, relaxing break, just casually reading manga, sleeping, relaxing, napping.
Yeah.
And then I noticed that on my because on Twitter I don't use the following tab. I use the For You tab, because when I'm just scrolling, I just want to see lots of different things. I don't really want to see like what everybody I already follow is posting.
Yeah.
And I got recommended, on the For You thing, there was someone who was asking for like collabs, I believe. I can't remember if it was specifically collabs or it was for the community day. But that post was made by our lovely friend Abbott.
Yeah.
So I joined community day later, the first day after that, I believe it was. And since that day, I have been just playing with them every single first day, and some other times too. And I'm not exaggerating any bit when I say this, that saved me. Like, just that, joining that group saved me. It had been a while since I actually had a love, because I used to do Pokemon free falls with another group, but that really died down because, frankly, Gen 9 as a mechanically is a trash game. Like it doesn't work as intended. So that has died down, and other things have caused to die down that I don't need to get into. So everything that I like enjoyed doing had like gradually disappeared. And since then, I have just looked forward to everything. I did make a big mistake by the end of the year. Got into a loan I didn't need to, and that really like flared up all my dark emotions from like the latter half of 2023. But I got that sorted out. I just said, okay, it happened. I'll just have to deal with it. I can't do anything about it. I just have to accept it and move on. And that's what I did. And now I'm here.
And when you say you're here, could you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So this was in February of this year. So I was heading home from a convention, and I saw that going then by Mimi, now by Rio, that she posted in her Discord server that she was gonna be on the VOD, and I was like, good friend of mine, I'll watch. I do not know what the VOD is, but it looks interesting. and yeah, I just joined the community, and I was like, yeah, this is a fun place. And like I got tired of being in servers where nothing was happening. Like it wasn't constructive for me at all.
Yeah. And just I guess that seeing, because I believe I had because that we're not going to talk about that whole experience of what happened with that group.
No, don't need to.
But that was because I first had Rex and Genevieve, and then I had now she is Rio, and then I had Abbott, and so and that grand scheme of thing, I guess everything just lined up where when you first came on, you came into the comment section, because I remember when you like left a just commented in the chat, I was like, oh, that's a neat name, that's a cool name. And we spent probably just like a couple minutes, like when you came back for a different stream. I think it was like Lethal Company or something like that. Which would have been a Wednesday, when I was I was like, oh, so what were the origins of that name? There has to be a reason. And literally all you said was, oh, I just got an actual like Japanese Kotatsu, and I just really like it, and I thought that'd be a funny name.
I like, it fit me so well. Like I used to go. Okay, let's step back. I used to go by, and this is like cringe when I think about it today, but I used to go by Kevin the Nice, which was like a play on the Nice was I was a fucking asshole. And then I became, that evolved into Nice Kevin 11 when I was 11. Then I updated that when I became 14, so Nice Kevin 14. And then I landed on Kevin Blackheart. So actually, if you go on Discord and you look at my profile, it will still say, I do not know why, it will still say that the Twitch account tied to my Discord is Kevin Blackheart, which it has not been Kevin Blackheart for at least 5 years. And I don't know why it's still called that. But Kevin Blackheart devolved into Soul Hunter, and then I got the Kotatsu, and I was like, you know what? I have been spending so much time on that this fits me perfectly, and I just never.
It fits
You know,
you physically and spiritually because it's actually
Yeah.
like you could fit under the Kotatsu.
yeah, it does the job so well. Like you only need to have it on for like 30 minutes at most, because the heat stays, and then you just get on it, and then you just lie down and relax.
See, I want one of those, but like that has air conditioning under, or like inside of it. That way, once you get inside, it feels like a supermarket freezer.
Ooh.
Like I'd love that because the thing is, I'm from, the small town of Las Vegas, Nevada, which a lot people. I say small town, guys. That's a joke, obviously. Las Vegas is not a small town. That is a very large city. If you want to talk about population, while the census considers the main part of Vegas to be about 800,000 people, the Las Vegas area, metro area, is about 3 million.
Yeah, that's about the size of in the entirety of Copenhagen, at least.
So it's and the thing is, that's just one city in the state of. That's not even a capital. Whereas Copenhagen is the capital of Denmark, is it not?
It definitely is.
And so, with that, it's in the middle of a desert. Much like the.
Isn't there?
Go ahead.
Isn't there some? I've heard this offhand, right? But isn't there something about how people pronounce Nevada differently?
Yes, there is. So
Yeah, I distinctly remember that.
So you can tell if somebody is from the state by how they pronounce it, much like any state, because for instance, a lot of people, like if you're from Colorado, a lot of people will say Colorado, but if you're not from Colorado, a lot of people say Colorado, and it's not Colorado, it's Colorado. However, I'm from the state of Nevada, so it's instead of Nevada. And when I hear somebody say Nevada, it just irks me because it is not the way you pronounce the name. It is Nevada because it is a Spanish word.
Yeah, it's like whenever I'm watching Game Grumps and they're like talking about Copenhagen.
They say Copenhagen?
He always says Copenhagen.
Oh my gosh.
Every single time.
It's not Copenhagen, it's not ice cream.
It's Copen, like cope.
Yeah. It's Copenhagen. Well, it's literally called, like, the tribunal is called The Hague. It's not called the Hague. It's called The Hague, and it has the name Copenhagen has a, anyway. It's a whole different discussion. But yeah, so I am from a desert. And much like the state of Arizona, it is a testament to the folly of man, because if you build no civilization in the right mind would build a city in the middle of a desert, because it's not sustainable, it's not economical. Now the difference is Vegas was settled right next to a massive lake that was linked to the Colorado River, which is very plentiful, and so the entirety of that city is taken care of by this lake. Now, thankfully, the lake has actually been, like, for the past few years, it's been the amount of water decreasing in the lake has significantly been reduced, and it's actually seeing an upturn in, like, the water levels in the lake are rising. Not important. The point is that, because we were talking about the Kotatsu, year-round, it typically teeters around, like, it fluctuates between about 20 degrees to 110. That's Fahrenheit. So, I guess it teeters at about 0 degrees to about 40.
So, there's a funny story with that. So we get my calculator here.
Well, that's
So
0 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius.
yeah, so in my room, because my toaster of an apartment, I have a rectangular room.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 windows on one side. They
Yeah.
are not a problem, and I have a window on the far side.
Mm-hmm.
And the sun starts shining in at 8 a.m. sharp on the long side, goes around and ends by the one window by the other side,
Yeah.
and it stays there and shines in from the entirety of my apartment, from I wanna say 3 p.m. until almost 9-10 p.m. in summer. And the last time I checked, it was my room alone was 95 Fahrenheit, and my upstairs neighbor, he once had 122 Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Thankfully, at least in America, the majority of homes are just built these days contain air conditioning by default.
Yeah.
So we are fortunate in that regard. Now sometimes those air conditioners are garbage, and they go out. Like for the past 2 summers, my AC has went out at like the peak height of the summer, and it's just
Yeah.
dreadful. And
I hate August. I've got to say it. I hate August. I can handle June and July. August sucks.
oh, see, for us in America, August is fantastic because August is July. Like June and July are our hottest months, and August is when it starts to dip down because once it gets to September, that's when it starts to get cold. So for me, August is just like, oh please, once it reaches August, then the temperatures are gonna go down. When I take my trip to Japan in late July, I'll be there in Japan during August, so it's gonna be miserable because of the heat and the humidity.
Yeah, I live right by the east coast of Sealand, and I moved like a little bit closer inland.
Yeah.
But the highest humidity percentage that I had where I used to live got to 103. That is, it kill me.
103 is nice to us in Las Vegas because mostly for the month of July, it's about 110 to 112 consecutively. And so, like I said, it's one of my buddies who are in Arizona. Anyone who's watching who's in Arizona, one of my buddies who's in Texas, the great state of Texas, knows exactly what I'm talking about. Where just your week, your month is beset by yes, cool air conditioning in the house. The moment you open the door, it feels like you just walked outside into a microwave and you just want to collapse because it's just such a dry heat. Because with a lot of these kind of like deserty places in the United States, it's not as humid, and so because of that, all of it's a dry heat, and so you're not sweating, like you're not feeling gross and yucky. Instead, you're just being cooked alive.
It's the exact reverse here. The heat here is what makes us sweat, and the humidity, it doesn't make us sweat, but it sticks to us like glue.
Oh, I hate it.
And the humidity level of my area, the normal or the regular humidity level is at about 60 to 70 roughly. So the 100 one, I just couldn't do anything that day.
So I guess the question is, have you experienced a dry heat that just cooks you, and you don't feel sticky, you just feel dry, there is no moisture, and you're slowly being just dried out from the rays of the sun? Because I've experienced both. I've experienced like humid summers because of
The
places I've
moment-
gone.
The moment when you can actually see the heat in it, like in the air. Yep. When I see that, I'm like, yep, today's gonna be a fantastic day.
Also,
I'm not gonna die.
something I've always wanted to do back home was, it would get so hot on the concrete and the blacktop. Do you know what blacktop is?
Not familiar with the term, no.
You know what asphalt is?
Oh yeah, of course.
So blacktop is a kind of a more composite form of asphalt, which is it's much darker, it's much blacker, and so.
Oh, I have seen that on the roads in the US. Yeah.
Because asphalt is typically what you see on driving roads, whereas blacktop is what's used on like pedestrian walkways. Because they're different materials, or they're different uses, and so they just, that blacktop, like well, just both blacktop and asphalt are just breeding ground for just intense heat. So what, like one summer when I was in high school, my dad was teaching me how to drive, and we're driving in his Ford F-150, a very nice like sand beige pickup truck, and we decided to go to one of our church parking lots, and so we drove over there. He's like, all right, hey, I got some cones I grabbed from work, I'm gonna teach you how to parallel park. He's like, okay, that's awesome, let's go teach us how. And so apparently they had retarred the parking lot in that, and so they threw fresh tar down on that parking lot. And if you know anything about like fresh tar, like a freshly tarred street, it accumulates and absorbs so much heat. And as we're learning how, we're having a wonderful time. However, when we got out to check the parking job, we looked at the ground and we're like, what the heck? Why does the ground look like that? What does it look like? Does it look like it's gooey? It doesn't make any sense. And so we got back in the car. We continued practicing driving around and parking, because when you parallel park, you gotta adjust your tires. You're turning the tires in place. And so we realized the ground was so hot that it was cooking and melting my father's truck tires to the asphalt.
Yeah, that I've seen that happen. It's actually insane.
It is insane, because the thing is, and we knew it was a hot day because as soon as we got out of the truck, we could only probably spend like a couple minutes before like we're dying, and we're like and bear in mind, we're like jeans and a t-shirt, and so maybe one of us is like wearing shorts. I think I was probably wearing shorts and a t-shirt, but like my dad and my twin brother, they were wearing jeans and a t-shirt, but we're all just and we just get out of the truck, we're just dying from the heat, and so we need to get back inside. So if that's what it is just for us standing outside, I can only imagine what it was like for the truck tires, because after that point my dad was like, all right, well, guess I gotta get new truck tires now, because the ground was so hot it melted the tires.
That reminds me of this one Australian video where the guy is like showing a water fountain in Australia, where it's so hot that when he's pouring the water, and for
boils,
genius reasons, they have made this water fountain like the casing surrounding it in metal.
Mm-hmm.
So he put the water like on it. It's like, it's metal. It turns to steam.
Yeah, because it flash boils it.
And then, in a moment of judgment lapse, he puts his hand on the metal.
And it burns it.
Yep. And it's like, it's all metal. It's all metal.
Yeah,
So
so
he tries.
it just brings me back to my school days whenever we'd have to have PE outside. It's like the middle of May. And so even May, it's hitting like the 90s, or very early, June or something like that. And so we're outside and we need to get like a drink. And so we have to go to like use the outside water fountains. But the thing is, because it's so hot, it heats up the pipes that are outside. It heats up the metal, and so you're just sitting there drinking, just like just drinking warm water because that's the only thing that's available. You're just kind of sitting there. In my opinion, like this is certainly a first world problem to say, but man, it sucks drinking warm water or hot water.
You know what? I can top that. So my sister went on a skiing trip. Like she was chosen for a skiing trip with a fellow classmate and some other schools in our old district.
Yeah.
And they had to do like the skiing thing where you walk with the skis for like many miles.
Oh, yeah, I believe there's just long distance skiing.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something like that.
And they were told that that they would get a very nice treat when they got to the top.
Yeah.
And when they finally got up there,
It's called Nordic
see
skiing.
if
Oh, cross country skiing. That's right. That's what it's done.
thank you.
Cross country skiing.
And when they got up there,
Uh-huh.
they got served warm juice.
Oh.
And she told me it was the worst thing she'd ever tasted.
Well, that's the thing is, at least in my experience of going skiing, because the thing is, I essentially moved from a city that it's perpetual summer half the year to a town that it's perpetually winter half of a year, a little more than half the year. Like it snows up here so much, I hate it. That when you're physically active to that point, oh, pardon me. Ooh, sorry, I'm getting a little gassy from my drink. Because I imagine just the amount that she was doing, you get very hot and sweaty, even when you're in a very cold climate like that, because you're just exerting so much. It's the friction of your clothes, and it's the energy you're expending, and you get so hot from it that when you're done with that, you just want something cold and refreshing. But like, no, you don't want soup. Like, it's not gonna refresh you. That's just gonna make you even hotter.
Yeah, it's all about it.
Yeah, my goodness. But like I said, so tailing is all back. An AC version of a Kotatsu would be the best invention ever. I'm sure they have it. Let me see if I'll look it up right now. See if that's. Let's see.
I'm not sure if there's a specifically that, but I'm sure it would be easy to install. Because you just get like a flat fan, and you can like screw it into the underside of a table, and then you just lie on it. You don't even need a blanket, because that would just make it hot.
No, because that would insulate the because it would still peer out the very bottom underneath the curtains of the blanket. But it would insulate and keep the cold air in, while releasing the, well, actually no, because hot air rises, so you probably have to open up the top a little bit of the blankets so that hot air can release. So, So I don't know, like, I feel like that'd be a good market. A Kotatsu that just has AC would thrive here in the United States.
I can already see the name Kotatsu.
A Kotatsu. Oh. See, we're on to, we got to get together. Either you need to come here to the United States, or I'm gonna be going over there to Denmark. and we're gonna design this thing. We're gonna make it. We're gonna sell it to all the Americans. That's all I gotta say, man.
As seen on TV, but it actually works.
As seen on TV. And so what you do is the top of the kotatsu, the table, you open it up, right? You hear me out? You open it up.
Yeah.
And inside is an insulated container, and you just put ice cubes there. Okay? You put ice cubes there, and there's a fan with it, and it just blows those ice cubes like it's air conditioner. So it blows that air, and it's through some sort of, I mean, it wouldn't be ice cubes, but more than likely it would just be using coolant running through pipes curved pipes like a refrigerator, because that's how most air conditioners work, is the coolant in an air conditioner will flow through, get extremely cold, and then the air will blow through that coolant, those pipes, and push the cold air out. And so we are Shark Tanking this idea. We're getting oof.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's time for us to shift a little away from that topic real quick, and I think it'd be time for us to talk about your international experience, because I am not feeling in the mood for the food flowchart, and you've probably seen it a lot. So
yeah, probably.
You mean probably? You know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I've seen it.
Okay, cool. I'm like, I don't think I need to bring that up.
I'm not gonna lie, it's the most amazing chat I've ever seen.
Oh, finally, somebody sees the importance and sees the beauty of the chart. Look, all I gotta say, man, it's for entertainment first, and factual correctness second. And that's what it is. But regardless, you know the food chart and you agree with it. I don't need to go into that. So, because I'd rather talk about your experience streaming as an international individual, because I've had several people on my show who are from a wide variety of countries. One was from near the Middle East. A couple have been from the UK. One has been from Australia. One has been from, I want to say, Indonesia, and another from Malaysia. And so, as you can see, I've had many different individuals on my show. However, you're the first one who is from the more immediate area of the EU, whereas the other individual was again around the Middle East area, around the Persia area. And so having somebody who is in the northern part of the continental Europe, and I say that because I'm excluding the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom is separate. They're part of Europe, of course, but I'm saying geographically speaking, you have the United Kingdom and then you have the continental Europe.
Yeah.
And so being from the northern part of, more specifically the northwestern part of Europe, is certainly a new experience to talk about. And Denmark nonetheless, because we kind of joked about it prior to you coming on the show, of this is a pretty big individual, I guess, in our circuit from Denmark. And that is that would be Lucius Merriweather. And we're not talking about him the entirety of the show. I'm just using him as an example of somebody from Denmark. But what has been your experience of doing this, of doing content creation like this, and kind of being exposed to the more American-centered audience? Because as we can see, the two big audiences of VTubing are Japan and America.
Yeah. So, in regards to let's take Denmark first, because there is actually a stigma around streaming in Denmark, or making content on YouTube. Yeah. So we have probably the worst thing we have in Denmark in terms of content creation is that we have the gold tube, which is like a Danish version of the Oscars, but for Danish YouTubers.
Really?
And it sucks.
It sucks?
It sucks, really. It's not fun. It's just bad. and and they're like, oh, this is the biggest Danish YouTuber, but it's not. The biggest Danish YouTuber at that point in time, he made his content in English, and for some reason, he wasn't even in contention. So there's a big stigma that if you do not make your content in Danish, then you are not a Danish YouTuber / streamer.
Let's see. It says, hold on. It says this most popular YouTube channels. Oh, that's just in Denmark. Okay, so I wanted to, like, I was just Subway Surfers is a Denmark-based YouTube channel.
Subway Surfers is maybe, but it's also like the mobile game.
Yes.
Made by Danish developers, I believe.
Yeah, that Subway Surfers is a Danish game.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, there it is. Yeah, no, Subway Surfers is an endless runner mobile game which is co-developed by Kilo and SYBO Games, private companies based in Denmark.
I mean, a lot of people don't like know it these days, but the Hitman game series was also Danish at first.
Really? Because it is something interactive. I can't remember.
Yeah. I'm fairly certain that it was made.
IO Interactive. That's what it is.
Yeah, in-house in Denmark.
IO Interactive is a Danish company. I was thinking of Eidos, and Eidos is the publisher. I was thinking of. Because I was thinking of the publisher, not the developer. Yeah, IO Interactive. Oh, there's Giza. You missed it. I was drinking Mountain Dew instead of Dr. Pepper, and I finished that bottle, by the way.
Oh damn.
But dang,
them fighting words.
So, it appears really the only games they make, like that IO Interactive makes, are the Hitman games and the Kane and Lynch series.
Yeah, because they either went bankrupt or got like absorbed in something else.
They got bought out.
That's what it was.
Which is, I guess, is the best case scenario for that kind of thing in game. Sorry, there's a car alarm just like going off outside my window. Bear in mind, I'm on the 3rd floor, by the way. So, but yeah, just man, I didn't know that Hitman was made by a Danish developer. That's so neat. And their headquarters is in Copenhagen.
It sure is.
Man, those are very Danish names. Jesper Vorsholt Jorgensen. Rasmus Guldberg. I don't know how to say that. That is KJ, sort of that AE little letter and then R. I don't know how to say that.
Yes, some of the names are very wild.
All right, here, I'm gonna send this. I'm gonna send this to you. I want, because I'm just curious. How do you say that word?
Kjær.
Kjær?
Yeah. Okay. So take so you see how it's kind of like an A and E together. That's how you like. Okay, I'm gonna put it in the chat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this one would be this one would be like this.
What? I mean, so because in my French experience, that AE is there, but also the OE is there, like the connected OE. Where is it? Oh no, that's a very German O. I'm thinking of where is it?
That's umlauten. When it has the 2 dots over. Yeah, that's what it's called when it's when it has the 2 dots over the
yeah, like a letter.
That's umlauten. Yeah.
Cause like I like that, like a U with the umlauten, that would be an or like an noise, would it not?
It, if you
Was it
take
an
if you take the letter like a U,
Or
and
that's
you
what I
put
meant.
that and you put the umlaut over it, it becomes a Y,
I see.
which is so bloody confusing.
Well, that's just languages for you. Cause like
But
when I see that when I see that right there, that OE, I think of this, that word, which is that's French for sister, is sœur.
mm,
That word would be pronounced that phrase would be pronounced la sœur, which means the sister. So
well,
anywho,
the more you know.
the more you know. So anywho, we kind of got way off track because of me. So you know,
Right.
the Danish YouTube awards and how it's kind of viewed as a not it's just not widely viewed well.
Oh, it's widely viewed by all the young people.
All the
Like
young
all,
people.
all like the teens are like, oh, that's so amazing. Ah,
Uh-huh.
that's our crowd.
Uh-huh.
Like the total like preteen fangirls.
And
And
continue.
it's just not it's just not good content. Like they try very hard, but they like there's not enough traction for them to keep going. Like if I could be friends with someone, like if I could be friends with one of these like famous stage YouTubers, or like something like Alpha Rat or like
Uh-huh.
Pharaoh, I would take them any day over the Danish guy.
Really?
Because I want to expand my horizons. I don't want to like do the same things, like have the same opinions and come from the same country as the people that I usually stream with or play with, because it then the conversation like falls flat.
And so streaming to a more like to a an American audience, like because for instance the show, a large majority of my audience, like probably about 75 to 80% of my concurrent audience is American. They're from the United States. Now for me that's just a normal audience, but for somebody like you who's overseas, that's completely foreign people that probably don't know a whole lot about the country of Denmark, or don't even know of its existence, because Americans tend to be very ignorant individuals that are very close-minded and don't tend to think about anything outside of the United States as existing. Because to the average American, a globe is a giant blue ball with the United States, Alaska, and Hawaii only present on the globe. You know what I mean?
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw, indeed. So what has been your experience then, just developing this, I guess, this love that you have for content creation in a medium that traditionally favors more of a Western audience?
Oh, I think it's been fun to do what you want to do. Like I'm like, God forbid, like joining something like Machinima, or like someone
red,
like
man.
I can be your manager, and oh no thank you. I would like my freedom of choice, and I can't remember what my what the the um the percentage of what followers I have on Twitch, but I do know that my shorts on YouTube are almost always seen by 75% Indians for some reason.
Indians, really? And you're referring
Really?
to those of India?
Yes.
Man,
Not from the UK.
no, from the UK.
Or Well, yeah, the Indians live in the UK too.
Oh no,
A lot of Indians.
sorry. Just
Yeah,
some of our
I know who you're talking about.
yeah. That's why I was a little that was a question because again sometimes I love my country. Sometimes the phrases that Americans use these days don't line up with appropriateness. That's why we don't say Indian anymore unless it's referring to those from India.
Yeah, wouldn't it be?
Sorry.
It's more correct to say Native Americans, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
So sorry, continue. The country of India and the Indians with that.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of them and like Middle Eastern people, some Western Asian countries too,
Yeah.
and that was just it. And they just watched my shorts for some reason.
Well, and I guess that just comes from the fact that that algorithm, that sort of that sort of cultural broadness that comes from just content is it's not confined to one sort of place. Rather, it pops up in the most interesting ways. Because if I were to take a look at, if I see my analytics, okay, and I see like let's take a look at Discovery, live viewership. So directly, it's all for the most part, it's all from Twitch. And let's see. Views from channels. I don't need to look at that. Views by location. There we go. So, 64% is from the United States. 9% is Canada. 6% is the United Kingdom. 3% is Australia, which I wonder if Marie counts for all 3% of that. Oh, we have 3% German, 1% Brazil, 1% Mexico, 1% China. 1% Greece, the entire country of Greece, Indonesia, look at that, 1% Denmark.
I'm the top 1%.
You are that 1% of Denmark. But just looking at this, Chile, Philippines, Malaysia, Argentina, Denmark, Indonesia, Greece, China, Mexico, Brazil, Germany, Australia, United Kingdom, Canada, United States. There's so many different countries watch my content and see that. And so you never know where you are going to find individuals coming from. And I think that certainly lends to a lot of strength, is knowing where that majority audience lies.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
It's also like, once you know who your audience actually is, it makes it easier to plan out when to actually stream.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of Indians watched my shorts because I had apparently uploaded in like their prime time. But their prime time is not the same as the US prime time because time zones.
Yes. Now, as you're doing this, as you're engaging content, like in the moments that you do, because you stated in your intro that you stream less and less frequently, but you still stream nonetheless.
Yeah, I try to stream every Thursday, if possible.
Now, like I said, coming back to this, what do you kind of hope to continue to gain out of continuing to stream, like, to this predominantly American demographic of VTubing? Not necessarily of the content you put out, but just what do you kind of hope to do as you're giving your VTubing content to a large majority of American audiences?
Probably, I would say more like personal relationships, like nothing like intimate or that.
Yeah, nothing parasocial.
But more like friends. Like, I don't mind if people want to be like more intimate with me, but I'm not gonna seek it out.
And even then, I imagine it's just using this as an opportunity just to sort of, yeah, just get friends. You know, you're not looking for anything
Yeah.
beyond friendship. Because it's just
Not in the moment, at least.
because I think that's something that we often don't think about as content creators. I mean, the if this is what one individual's passionate about, we can see the impact and influence that one would have on these type of interpersonal relationships that are being developed. Like, and that's a very explained and overworded way of basically saying, yeah, it's interesting to see how we make friends doing this kind of occupation. Because like, I have a group chat with the individuals I stream with a lot. And by the individuals, just 3 other individuals that I stream with every Wednesday for the most part. And at this point, it's safe to say that I'd consider them my friends, because I've learned a lot about them. We've shared a lot of stuff. We've had a lot of moments together. You know, we've had ups, we've had downs. You know, like, you know, the Phantom Fame, another individual who I'd consider a good friend at this point, that I've been able to get to know and really just see who he is, the content of his character. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'd consider him a friend. It's just interesting where you find those relationships in the most unlikely of places, because when I first started this, I didn't anticipate that I would be making friends doing this. Did you anticipate that you'd be making friends when you started doing this?
No. At first, I was just like,
Yeah.
I joined one community like back in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Not like the V2 community, but just a regular gaming community for a streamer.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of went from there.
Yeah.
Like at first, I had heard my voice when I was like 14, 15, like after I had gotten my like adult voice, if you want to call it that. And
Your
I
adult voice.
absolutely hated. Like my lisp at the time and my voice, I just thought it sounded awful. And that got me like very self-conscious. So like from that point and then up to like 2018, I rarely and barely ever was in voice calls at all with any sort of thing. And I would also like call people less frequently and go to text messaging instead.
Yeah.
And joining that community broke me out of my shell completely.
Well, if it's any bit of consolation, you know, maybe a bit of vulnerability to kind of relate to on a personal level like that, I also, and sometimes it still happens for me occasionally. I had, and like I said, it comes out occasionally, a very major lisp growing up. Where it didn't sound as much like yours, but where what it sounds like for your lisp, it sort of come like when you speak and have those sounds, the air comes to the sides of your tongue and come out. Is that correct?
Yeah, because of how the S is brought.
Yeah. Yes. Because for me, sometimes, because it's happened on stream, it comes out occasionally, where for me when I pronounce my S's, sometimes it'll flub. I'll go back to how my lisp was before, and just I'll sound like that, and it'll like occasionally, like I can't remember the last time I've ever spoken where I've sounded like this, and it just like, because I just haven't. I took speech therapy a lot when I was a kid, in my formative years, and so thankfully it's not as present. But ever so often, I'll be speaking and just like that, it'll occasionally come out. So
yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and so I can relate to you on that level of just talking with people, what you understanding, and once you find out, it's just like you don't want to talk to anyone anymore because you feel less and less confident about yourself. But then the more you realize this is what I sound like, this is who I am, and you start being open, and it's just like you see, you know what? This is who I am. If you don't like that, well, tough. Good for you. You don't have to be in my life, but this is who I am, and this is who I like. And it's wonderful to hear how you came out of your shell because of this. Because had you not, I wouldn't have been able to have you on my show. Because that's a very hard thing to open up and be vulnerable about. To be like, I didn't feel comfortable talking with people because I just didn't like the way I sounded. But I was able to accept what I sound like through this.
Yeah. It's like the concept is called the butterfly effect, and I think that is one of the best concepts ever.
Oh my goodness!
Well,
Thank you so much for the raid, Dreamy. I really appreciate that. My sound alerts are not working. Somebody who is in our server, who joined my server, and also is gonna hopefully be a part of my VTuber voiceover tournament. Because I know who you are. And not to mention, you also joined the VC, so we've talked a little bit. Yes, Spankable, also bird raid. Yes, Haverick, Spankable, and Boy Wife. How's your stream? How are you doing? Talk to me about that. And by talk to me, put in the chat. If you need to go, I'm not going to do the stereotypical thing of like, trying to keep you here. I will say my piece and I'll let you get going. If you need to go sleep, go eat, go drink. My name is Val. This is my VTuber talk show, the VOD, and we're talking with our friend Kevin here. And we're going to be wrapping up within the next 15 minutes. So I encourage you guys to stay with us for these next 15 minutes as we indulge on a fun conversation. So with that in mind, go eat, drink, sleep, be merry, and thank you for trusting me with your community. Kevin, you were saying.
I lost track. What were we talking about again?
We were talking about the mystical lisp and how it's. Oh, wait a minute. Did I forget? We're so entranced by somebody bringing up Spankable. I
just like birds.
I also like birds. Like I don't know. I had birds growing up, like when I was in high school, and that's when I learned to have a deep respect and love for our avian friends, especially people like pigeons. So pigeons are actually very clean birds. They are given a very nasty rap. So just remember, just because you see a pigeon doesn't mean it carries disease. Pigeons are very clean animals. I'm not the one with the Spankable tag. Touche, Afric. Stream was good. Was just dropping by. Well, thank you, Dreamy. Go eat, go drink, go sleep, and we will wrap this up. And then we're actually gonna be raiding out again. So, but yeah, Kevin, any last minute thoughts to give before we get into our final 10 questions?
No, I have been waiting all day with my questions. or my answers is the correct way of saying that.
I see. Well then, let us not dilly-dally any longer and let us get into this. So, these are 10 questions that I got from James Lipton, famous writer, actor, director, that he would often ask his guests at the end of his show inside the actor's studio. And these questions have no right or wrong answers. They're just simply answers for us to see what your responses are. Now, for anybody who has not seen this before, I encourage you to answer these questions along with us inside the chat, as I would love to see what you guys say. Now, without further ado, Kevin, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, our very first question is, what is your favorite word?
It used to be a lot of things, but I have really come to like the word umbra.
Umbra.
Like from Bayonetta, Umbra Clock Tower, like that. Like, it has so many like cool connotations to it.
Guess what, guys? We have a Warframe player here.
I did try a bit, but I dropped.
I don't blame you. Warframe is a great game. I love it. It's a great game. I haven't played it in a little bit, but it's a game
I used to be an early player back back in like 2008 when it first came out.
Oh, that came out. I think this one came out like 2013.
I believe it had a. I believe it had a precursor that came out in at least 2011.
I was right. It did come out in 2013.
It definitely had. It definitely copied another game then, because they were very similar.
So let's see. 2011 was when they started to develop it more. However, let's see. Oh, okay, I see. So, Digital Extremes creator, which I believe is one of the developers. The developer is Digital Extreme, so DE is what it's more commonly referred to. I wonder if you're referring to their game Dark Sector. Because that says...
that might be it. That might be it.
The origin... So yeah, Dark Sector as a precursor. The Origins of Warframe came out as a Canadian studio... come out of Canadian studio Dark Extreme's original version for the previous game Dark Sector, which came out in, guess what? 2008. Look at that. There you go. Oh, I think I remember seeing this game.
So I remember it was free on some like old collection sites like Epic Games is now.
Yeah, it's Michael Rosenbaum was in it. Interesting. I know him as the Flash from the DC series Justice League. Heck yeah. But yeah, what is your least favorite word?
It has never changed, and that is norm.
Norm.
Like when my dad would be like, "Oh, it's the norm to do things like this way, that way," and I'm like, "Fuck you."
Whoa. That is certainly something to behold. Also, my chat box just isn't working.
Like I just got tired of him trying to enforce his way by trying to package it in as like the norm of everybody else.
Yeah, it makes it imply that that is the status quo, and that's the only way to do it. It can be a very closed-minded way of doing things. So I can understand that. Where are the entrance sounds? So I'm going to be working on that when I'm not working my overnight shifts. So this upcoming week, I'll be doing that. So don't worry, Bubbles. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, emotionally? In other words, what motivates you?
That is music, 100%. Like just listening to music that just like resonates with my core being, and just gets me like gets my day going. Like I have had the one I'm listening to right now. I have had on repeat for like at least 2 days, and it just doesn't stop being good.
Yeah, music is always a good one. That was my answer when I was asked these questions. But music is always a good one. Because once you get into that, once you hear like something, it just gets you in that mood. It just gets you in that moment. What turns you off creatively, spiritually, emotionally? Or in other words, what tends to kill your passion, your motivation, your feeling?
That is when I'm putting effort into something. It can both be tech stuff or personal relation stuff. And it just, after even trying so hard, it just doesn't work out. Like that really bums me out completely. Like I tried to make a lot of games work on various programs. I had the original copies with me, and it just wouldn't work, and I just got frustrated at the end.
It's it kind of kills that feeling, because you're just like, was it worth it?
Definitely wasn't.
Yeah. What is your favorite curse word, Kevin?
It is shit.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a lesser it's a lesser curse word, but it still gets the meaning across.
It still has authority. It still has power. It still has respect.
Exactly.
So,
Like you can yell like fuck and shit, and people will know which one is the more offensive one.
well, I feel like you can use. I feel like you can use the S word in a more playful way. That when you use the F word, like it always denotes some form of extreme. Where I feel like the S word offers the same things that the F word does, just in a lesser extreme, and so it can be used like in a more like subdued way. You know?
I agree 100%.
Yeah, I think nowadays the S word is a very underappreciated expletive. So you got to sprinkle in, you gotta add some variation. As from SpongeBob, you gotta they're sentence enhancers. So you gotta make sure you gotta keep the variety going, because if you're just sticking on one, you're just gonna get content with it, and you're not gonna be open to change. So just remember, sprinkle in some extra ones. The S word's pretty good. What sound or noise do you love?
One would be you have for ASMR you have these water things, and then when you like tilt it, and the water like goes like bloop, 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 bloop.
Ooh.
I love that. And the other one is my mom's cat when he is snoozing.
Sleepy cats. Freaking love cats. That's the quickest way to my heart. If anybody wants to have my full undivided attention, somebody just has to like talk to me about a cat, or show me a picture of a cat, and I will drop everything.
I will send you every photo of that cat I have at the moment.
Put that in the server for all to see. Do not confine it to just me.
One of those is a masterpiece.
Ooh. Yes, we need to put it in the server. What sound or noise do you hate?
Okay, and I know this is not just me, but polystyrene foam.
What?
I cannot.
Polystyrene?
Yeah, styrene foam. I cannot. It triggers me so hard. I literally have like to hold my ears when people are handling it near me.
Are you talking about like just like? Oh, there's a different like we use a different phrase because we don't say polystyrene foam. I think we just say like foam.
Well,
because it took me a second to realize what you're talking about, and then now I'm just curious. Sorry, continue.
But yeah, that thing, nope. If I get something delivered where I have to handle it, I take my headphones on, max volume, and then I just handle it like I'm a surgeon.
Yeah. Oh, styrofoam. I'm sorry. Oh, so polystyrene and styrofoam are not the same thing. Interesting. I see. Okay, so polystyrene is a type of plastic, but styrofoam is a brand name for a type of extruded polystyrene foam. So it's I guess it's a case of tissue versus Kleenex, where tissue is the type of item, whereas Kleenex is the brand name. Interesting. I see. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I would. Well, this was like a small dream when I was younger, like being like a small, like a quaint cafe owner.
Yeah.
Like not in a main street, but like in a small little side street where people still know that you're there. They still come for the atmosphere and just for
kind of like
coffee or tea.
So kind of like a Cafe LeBlanc from Persona 5.
Yeah, kinda. And on that, I would, if I am able to, I would love to just like drop everything, take a extended break from work and
A nice sabbatical, if you will.
and everything, and then just go explore the world as a charity worker.
Ooh.
Preferably not in war-torn places. I'm not that brave.
Well, that's why we do have brave men and women that do that. What profession
Amen to
would...
them.
Yes. What profession would you not like to do?
Okay, I respect them like a whole lot, but I could not be a road worker.
A road
Like
worker?
like you have to weather the sun, the burning asphalt, the rain, the hail. I couldn't. Like
My brother used to...
total props to them for doing the job, but I couldn't do it.
My brother used to do that, where like he worked for a plating company that they would essentially dig holes in the ground and lay plating down to protect pipes. And he hated it. He hated it, but the money was good.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? Small tangent, but people do not realize that road workers or people who collect like garbage men, right? Trash collectors.
Mm-hmm.
They actually over time get paid more than an entry level office worker, because the office worker has to like earn a promotion or a raise, whereas whereas a lot of road workers and trash collectors, they have these benefits that you gradually get more paid the more you work for that particular company.
Yeah. It's a job. There are jobs that people don't want to do, that's just have to be done, and those jobs end up being paid pretty nice. It's just how much you can how long you can tolerate it.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
last question: if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
This, I had to think about it for a bit, right? But I think I've come up with the greatest answer possible.
Sure, let's hear it.
So, when I arrive, he will ask me, "What was your all-time favorite anime?" and that is how he's gonna judge who goes to heaven or hell.
Are you telling me God's judgment on this 50-50 shot is based on whether you say One Piece or quintessential quintuplets?
It's more like if you're brave enough to say Neon Genesis Evangelion, he'll think about it, contemplate a little bit, respect your bravado, but still send it to hell.
What is your favorite anime God says to you, to which your response comes up with, "Oh, that? Oh, I like Redo of Healer." He's just like, well, that's not a sin to like. It is a little weird. Descends down to hell. Oh, that's just one of my favorite things to think about. God's judgment of, what you did was not a sin, but it was a little weird.
But on the topic, right? as an ender, right? So I really want you know how you have these like folding rulers, right? That you use to measure things. I really want a anime based around that concept, and everybody in the anime are like woodworkers, carpenters, like anybody that uses these for their professional work, and they all use the folding rulers as weapons with different like designs for weapons. Like one has it fold out completely, that's a staff. One has it like tilted, that's a scythe. Oh, that's just and the best one would be like one that has like folded out like a Japanese fan, and it's just the typical like rich girl like going ho 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 ho. Ho.
Okay.
That would be great, and then I could die happy.
Oh, ain't that wonderful? Well, Kevin, this has been a fun 2 hours, but alas, all good things must come to an end. Because if they went on forever, well, then people wouldn't like it as much. So, any last-minute things, any quick last-minute things you want to say before we raid out?
Stay in school.
Stay in school?
Please.
That's a good one.
You don't know how much you need it until it's too late.
Oh wow, I completely flubbed that. Sorry guys, I have big hands, so because of that sometimes I fat finger some certain keys. So anywho, that first one is for our wonderful follower or subscribers, and the one down below is for our wonderful followers. So with that in mind, Kevin, it's time for me to ask my last, and in my opinion, my second most important question. That is, who shall we raid that we haven't raided before? And if you can't find anybody that we can raid that we haven't raided before, pick someone who we have. So when you find that, put that in the stream chat. As for now, I will talk to my chat. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful episode of the VOD.
Sure.
For joining me on this episode of the VOD, we got to have a wonderful guest. We got to have a wonderful discussion. A lot of things we learned today. Please check me out on Twitter, where I post trash takes on anime, and by that's what everyone says. I just use Twitter. And that's where I post some updates about things. Follow me on YouTube, where if you want to see any past shows, I'm trying to do more content on there. I was going to, and then I got suddenly very busy with my schoolwork and my second job, so that's taking up a lot of my time. So here's hoping with the actually I'll talk about that now. Probably going forward, I'll either be doing the VOD once a week, or just instead of it being on the weekends like this, I'm going to be moving it to earlier in the week. That way it can accommodate my schedule, where I can spend the time before I work my overnight shifts. I can be spending doing my stream stuff there. So with that in mind, if you're not part of the Discord, join my Discord. The Discord's super fun. It is growing every day now, and we're having a VTuber voiceover competition. So if you want to be a part of that, join it and apply, as I'd love to have you. Now, with that in mind, let's raid out. Oh, excuse me. Dumb television, full Mads Friday. What the heck? I just love how Twitch shows me the most random things ever. All right. Well, there it is right there. And, oh, wow, I can actually see so much information. That's neat. All right, well, we'll start that raid. So without further ado, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope you can join me tomorrow for our last guest of the week, Kaiden Taijigen, as we continue to discuss more VTuber things. With that in mind, my name is Val. This has been Kevin, and we will see you tomorrow.
Signing out.
Signing out. Bye-bye!